taxation dollars from somebody. And we've got to have the correct legal, and in this case, it's a local improvement, is that what you're suggesting? I want to get...
Sorry, under the municipal act would be a Part 12 charge, and that's basically what we did for rural water and any of those.
Is that similar to a local improvement?
It takes over for that, yes.
Part 12 individual. And the other would just be general taxation, and we would use those other ones at the top. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Councilor
One question, just I guess clarification. I mean, essentially here in this report with the figures, we've got 6 options: single train, double train, 3 different financing possibilities, and then for each one of those, we need C.N. Watson to run
amortization
these, and the amortization periods could vary, as well as we would require the economic forecaster to run the numbers on any of these scenarios. That would be the next step.
That could be a step.
It could be a next step.
Deputy Mayor Dag, and Mary Enoch, please.
Another question about the figures, and I'm going to direct this to Janet. Janet, with a single train, all the calculations here indicate that we're going to have $1 million from the FCM. However, the question was addressed earlier that we may not receive $1 million for a single train because it might not reach the thresholds required for green initiatives. And I'm just wondering, I know that you were going to ask about and get written confirmation that we would still have $1 million if there was we took a single train approach. And have you gotten that written confirmation? So we really, I know when you did the calculations back on October 7th, you actually ran the numbers with the $1 million in and with the $1 million out. And so we don't have any calculations with the $1 million out.
Councilor McGuire?
For you to John, essentially what we're buying here is capacity, right, John? The new plant's going to give us capacity.
Yes.
What would the capacity figures be for land and shores on each one of these? Do you have those numbers?
In the back.
That's the draft.
In the draft.
So if I just go off this chart, that's...
Yeah, in the single train, or sorry, the double train configuration, it would be 2,255 cubic meters for land and shores.
Sorry, which one was that, John?
Yeah. This, in terms of the single train configuration, I would prefer to, I think we need some discussion with the municipal solicitor in regards to how, and that would be a Thursday discussion about how he sees capacity allocated in the single train scenario.
Blue Water's portion of it.
Yes. And it would be subject to, as you know, we've council deferred some further discussion with Blue Water about how we're going to work out an arrangement with respect to our usage of, theoretically, their share of capacity while they're having their 10-year look-see. And I think the solicitor has an approach to that he'd like to discuss with council further. They were about, as you know, to discuss that on, when was that, January?
Tuesday,
January 30th at
31st, Tuesday afternoon, that was discussion was going to,
And they just get
lawyers didn't get
put on hold.
Yeah. Councilor Ullman?
Well, I guess we also are sitting here with two confidential reports. one a report from the CAO and the other the memo from the solicitor. And there are a number of questions around those agreements that we have to have answered. As well as specific questions. I mean, there's no point my asking the CAO a number of questions around the Build Canada agreement. I have several, but again, there's no point asking them today either. The only other in Councillor McGuire, when you were speaking about capacity, is just asking the CAO to clarify again for all of us here, the two graphs in the report, and especially in the second report, as I understand it, that would include the current unserviced areas, zones 3 and 4. In the second graph, the first graph does not, and the second graph does.
Yep.
I believe.
Deputy Mayor Day, you had a question?
Yes, I have one two things. Just with regard to the debt issues that you had brought up on the third page of your 2012. And so of the $21.2 million that we have in debt, 18 million of that, or 86% of this debt, is going to have a term beyond 10 years. And so you make the statement that some of this long-term debt could be retired and we could use the payments we have to offset contributions for the sewage treatment facility. However, when you do the calculations, only $638,000 of that $21 million will be paid off in the next 2 or 3 years, which constitutes 3% of our total debt. So really, very little of our debt is going to be paid off. So that's somewhat misleading, because we
As I indicated,
we have-
this was done in a very tight time frame, and we're just trying to do some green light thinking about how what an approach could be. There is some debt coming off, and so it creates, it's minimal, I concede that. But again, part of the debt that's continuing is primarily water and sewer related, and I really haven't had a conversation with Janet or our group about what are the implications if you're putting the sewage facility on taxes. Is it a tax-driven offset? The other approach in looking at a lot of the forecasting that we're doing in terms of infrastructure replacement, so on and so forth, is based on it's forecasting. It's projecting, as you know, in the 10-year forecast, we have the West Bosanquet collection, the force main, and the collection systems in there. It has other long-range forecasts, and so council can go back to the drawing board in terms of its review of the 10-year capital forecast, reassess the priorities it has, what is its priorities, shift those priorities out to create some room if it so desires to help mitigate the impact of the tax increase. But at the end of the day, there's the fact is that you're about to, we're talking about a major sewage treatment facility. We've maximized as much as we can financing. There will be an impact on taxpayers in one way, shape or form. We can't make it disappear. We're doing what we can in terms of minimizing those impacts through a variety of means, and it means for council to go back to its 10-year forecast and say, no, maybe we need to defer some of these proposed acquisitions out to create some room. It can do that. It's not going to be the total answer, but it's a tool that council can use to try and mitigate some of the cost increases.
Russell.